Okay, honors, this is a special video just for you guys, and I'm sure you're really excited about it. But it is about your first honors essay. So before we even get into the prompt, which I will explain, and this is the prompt sitting before you, know a few things. It's being assigned today. I originally intended on assigning it on a Friday, but it just happened to fall on this Thursday, so I'm going to just let you have this extra day to do this, but it is due by the start of your class on Tuesday. So it is due by the start, so 10 a.m. on Tuesday of next week. So you have basically Friday, the weekend, and Monday to get it done. It's due by 10 a.m. If it is not in by 10 a.m. on Tuesday, it is a 20% off per day late. So you turn it in one day late, it's automatically 20% off. It's 20% off more the next day, et cetera, and so on. So after 5 days, it's worth 0 points. And that does happen occasionally, but not too often. So that's the basics. This is due Tuesday of next week. There is no document of the week for you. I will be assigning a document of the week for the rest of my students, but not honors. So if you have a friend in a non-honors class and they said, we have a document of the week, they do, you don't. Okay, so let's get to essays in general. At the beginning of the year, we talked a little bit about how we want to construct essays in here. And for those of you who are paying tremendous attention to what your English teachers are saying, this is essentially an informational essay. All of my essays, in honors anyway, not in AP, but in honors, are going to take a 5-paragraph format. So that means you're going to have an intro paragraph where you're going to tell me what you're going to tell me. You're going to have 3 body paragraphs, each one covering a specific topic, and then a 5th paragraph, a conclusion. And that paragraph is going to tell me what you told me. Okay? Those are the basics. Now, they're going to start off being worth 25 points. They're eventually going to equal test scores, and they're going to be eventually worth 50 points. But we're going to start off with 25 points for the first few. And at some point, we'll make that transition. But right now, it's a 25-point essay. If you do not write the intro, or you do not write a conclusion, and by the way, some people will, every year I get someone who argues, oh, I only wrote 4 paragraphs, but the last one's a conclusion. No, it's not. It just happens to be your last paragraph. Because if it was a true conclusion, it would tie up all the loose ends. No matter how you do it, if you wrote a 4-paragraph essay, the best you can do is 20 out of 25 because each paragraph is worth 5 points. So you don't write one of the paragraphs, you can't get those 5 points. I've had students before turn in one giant paragraph and say, well, I really did cover everything. Cool. You missed 20 points. Don't write a 1-paragraph essay. It's a 5-paragraph essay. Your intro will tell me what you're going to tell me, and that is essentially, it's going to give me a preview of your conclusions. That's going to be your thesis. Your conclusion is going to remind me what you already told me. Think of the Cedar Point essay we wrote the first, week of school. And then the body, the middle 3 paragraphs are going to be about the specifics, 3 specific topics. That's how all of these essays are going to be set up. Now, this one is particularly easy because you get to pick the 3 topics, basically. Future ones, it gets a little muddled. What are the 3 topics? Because we're giving you a more nuanced, a more complicated thesis to write. But we're going to start off nice and easy. So I'm going to read you the prompt, and it should be pretty clear. The 27 amendments to the Constitution contain indispensable rights that each and every American should cherish. Describe 3 that you value the most and why. Tie in how they could directly affect your life, and be sure to detail exactly what is protected by the 3 you choose. So in case you haven't figured it out yet, you're going to have an intro where you're going to tell me, you're going to preview, hey, I think these 3, whichever 3 it is you're going to choose, are the most important. By the way, your conclusion is going to say, essentially, as you can see, these 3 amendments, blah, 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 are the most important, and kind of recap. And then body paragraph 1 is going to be about one of the amendments. The next body paragraph is going to be about another amendment, and the next body paragraph is going to be about your 3rd amendment that you chose. 5 paragraphs. Intro, one of the amendments, another amendment, conclusion. Those are your 5 paragraphs. Every paragraph must have 5 complete sentences. If I read any paragraph that only has 4 sentences, no matter how good those 4 sentences are, that's going to be -1. So in other words, I have to have 25 sentences in this brief 5-paragraph essay, if that makes sense. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Now, how do you write about your amendments? I'm going to give you the 26th in particular as an example. The 27th is just so boring, I don't even want you to use that anyway. So you basically, I'm limiting you to 1 through 25. But the 26th Amendment, which we haven't even taught yet, and they'll all be taught by Monday, the 26th Amendment says you can vote at age 18 or older. So that basically changed the voting age from 21 to 18. So we often frame that as 18 to 20-year-olds got the right to vote, if that makes sense, because you already had the right to vote if you were 21. So for each amendment paragraph, I'm looking at three things. One, you explain to me the right that is protected. So if I'm writing about Amendment 26, I say, one of the most important amendments to me would be the 26th Amendment. The 26th Amendment protects my right to vote from at age 18 to 20, but basically gives me my right to vote starting at age 18. So there you go. There's one point right there. You explained what right is protected, okay? Why is it that that means so much to you? That's worth 2 points. Why is it it's so important to you? What's your connection to this? Why does this ring true to you? You know, and the 26th Amendment means a lot to me because I'm a young person. If I didn't have this amendment, I wouldn't even be able to vote once I went to college. That's fine. So there you go. That's worth 2 points. Now, tie in exactly how this directly affects your life. That's worth 2 more points. All right. Now that one is where some people say, well, I just explained to you why it's so important to me. Make it very clear. Pretend the reader of your essay is stupid, which may not be a stretch here. You want to make sure it's abundantly clear that I understand exactly that you've answered all the parts to this. And you're answering, what right does it specifically protect? Why is it important to me? And how could it directly affect me? I would literally say, this amendment directly affects me because soon I will be 18. And I want to be able to exercise that right to vote because it's important to me to vote for the next president or whatever it might be. If you don't make it clear and I have to kind of guess, you might get partial credit, you might not get any credit. It's going to be up to my subjectivity. But if you spell it out, then I have no choice but to give you the points that you earn. So for each one of the amendments that you choose, you're going to say what right it protects, why it's important to you, and how it either does or could directly affect your life. Hopefully that makes sense. Rewind this if it doesn't. So we're going to have a 5-paragraph essay with an intro. Then we're going to have 3 different essays or 3 different amendments being looked at, and then a conclusion. In each of the body paragraphs where you look at one of the amendments, you tell me what right that amendment protects, why it's important to you, and how it directly either could or does affect your life. If you have all that done, you're going to get a 25 out of 25. If you skip a paragraph, you're guaranteed to miss 5. If you skip a sentence go below the 5-sentence minimum, you're guaranteed to miss 1 point per sentence. If you write little Mickey Mouse sentences that I don't think are really good complete sentences, I'm going to put a comma between your 2 baby sentences and make them 1 good one, and then mark off a point for not having 5 good sentences. And then if you don't list the right it protects, that's -1. If you don't list why it's important to you, that's -2. If you don't list how it could or does directly affect you, that's -2. It sounds complicated, but really, I think you'll be able to write this pretty quickly. In some ways, it might be easier than some of the documents of the week, okay? If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. If you put anything, like even under the assignment, I get a Gmail usually that you've asked a question there. So this essay is due by the start of class on Tuesday. You can start it whenever you want, but it's 20% off per day late after that. And if you think the essay's tough, waiting to do it till Wednesday usually doesn't help because you're taking off 5 points off the top. Okay? So hopefully this makes sense to you. Feel free to reach out to ask any questions, and good luck on your essay.